Hello, welcome to part 3 of our Oceanside map. We're working on our map of the month map making workshop series, and right now we're in the midst of our Oceanside map. And let's take a look at what we've done so far. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes, and we'll work on it a little bit more. You can see we worked on the water bodies and the swamp and forest in the last video, and I think I might talk about those 3 bridges one more time. We came to a bridge crossing over the river, and I think a good color for bridge might be brown. I don't know if you want to follow that too, but I'm going to put it in my key. I'm going to put a little bit of brown for the bridge symbol, and we have a total of 3 bridges that we can highlight. One there, one for the railroad bridge, and one more down here. Okay, now we talked about the river, and we said it was about 18 miles long, and we probably got through about a third of it. So I'd say we got through about 6 miles of that river, but maybe a little bit more than that. But let's just do a little bit more between the 2 bridges. Okay. Now remember, a nice light touch with a pencil will keep you moving pretty quick. Try to stay in the lines. And once again, you can always stop this video if you'd like and go a little, catch up, or go a little further along if you want, and then start it up again. But as I go toward the ocean, this river, if I was to drop a piece of wood in this river, or a piece of paper, or something that floats, it would float in this direction toward the ocean. Now, sometimes I just like to kind of do a little edge to the end to the river. They call this the mouth of the river, where it enters into the ocean. So I think I'm just going to put like a kind of a sort of a end point. You can see the river is quite wide toward the mouth of the river, where it enters into the sea, and then you're entering into the ocean. Now we have a nice coastline along that ocean, and that coastline is where the water meets the land. And what I do is I just put a little bit of, which I'll turn my paper a little bit to make it a little easier, but I'm going to put a little edging of blue along the coastline. All you need is about 1/4 of an inch or so. Now as we go along the coast, you'll see some various symbols. Those 2 little lights, if you look in the key, I believe that represents a lighthouse. Okay, what would be a good color for a lighthouse? Maybe a yellow or orange, or a combination of those 2 if you'd like. We've got some, as we go along, we're going to be talking about transportation, which includes, boat travel, lighthouses, and we're going to be talking about roads and railroads and highways. That will be a big part of our map as we go along, but let's just get this ocean delineated here. We're kind of showing it by just putting a little edging along the coastline. Now, we talked about this being a fictional map, but we should name this river, this ocean. Now, if you've studied much about oceans, we have about 5 different oceans in the world. Let's write them down on the back of the map real quick. The 5 oceans of the world include the Atlantic, the Pacific, These aren't in any special order. I'm just going to name all 5. Okay, there you got the Arctic. If you want to write these on your paper too, it's kind of nice to have this little list. Then you've got the Indian Ocean. And the last one would be the Southern Ocean. Now, you can pick from any one of those oceans if you want to label this ocean on your map. I am going to go with Atlantic. And I think that makes sense because this, I talked about it earlier, but this town of Oceanside is based on a real place that happens to be along the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to put all capital letters down in the, and it's kind of fun. I like to make the letters look like they're floating in the water. They're kind of like bobbing up and down in the water. See how I'm kind of not just straight across. I'm also making them big capital letters so that they really show up nice. And I'm also stretching them out the whole length of that ocean area. You don't have to do that, but I think it does kind of make the ocean look nice, and it's easy to read. And now, if you like, you can also go over it with a darker color if you're happy with your lettering. Sometimes ocean names, it's fun to decorate those letters a little bit. Pretty easy to do. I actually have I'll show you in the next video some old maps that show very decorative lettering for ocean names. But that's a nice, easy way to decorate. You can finish that up later on. Okay, I'll finish that later too. Okay, so let me just go to the very edge of the ocean coastline. I want to eventually connect this all up here. Okay, maybe I'll color in this other body of water I drew last video. Okay, great. All right, so let's go to the next symbol in our key. After forest, we've got, now this is where we talked about the transportation aspect of the map. We've got highway, which is probably the busiest type of road in the world. Then we've got main road, which is maybe not quite as busy as a highway, but still pretty busy. Then you've got a side street, which is less busy than a main road. You can see I've used a different type of line for each one of those roads. And then you might have a trail or a dirt road, which maybe would just use a dashed line. Okay, so let's take these one at a time. I've got a highway running right along the town, and it actually has a number. You can see that number, 95, Interstate 95. So if you want to just color the little top of that shield there, kind of fun to do. There's another clue on your map that might help you figure out where this map is based on. Now, what would be a good color for the highway? I'd like to go with a, sometimes I go with a brighter color, like a yellow or orange, or sometimes a darker color, black or brown. Maybe I'll go with black. That'll be a nice color for the highway, I think. Now, it'll make it easy to shade in the two black line between the two black lines too. So this is a very narrow double line, and it's easy to stray from that. Try to do your best to get that color right in between. Okay, that's your Interstate Highway 95. see we can also add a little color to the key too. Now, I know my timer is going to go off. I'm just going to stop my timer. We'll do a little bit more before we end the video. Let's just get that highway shaded in. We don't really have to do too much work to the other roads because they're already colored. You know, it's just the pattern. It's the thickness of the line that shows what it is. We don't really have to add any color to the main road or the side street or the dirt road. But we do want to get this highway, add a little color to it to match our key. All right. Now, we do have another little symbol we're going to talk about that has to do with transportation as well, the railroad. You can see there's a railroad here. We'll talk about that in the next video to round out our transportation. Oh, and an airport too. I almost forgot we have an airport. It also has to do with transportation. So, okay, we've got a lot to talk about in the next video. And little by little, we're getting this map done and completed. And feel free to talk between videos. Feel free to talk about anything that we've touched upon. All right, that's a good place to stop, and look forward to working with you on the next video. Thanks.